So today we're going to be doing a little bit. I'm going to try to keep it tight today. I'll do a little shorter workshop. We're going to do tricks to tame your to-do list. And I know if you're a change maker out there, you got a to-do list. I know you. You probably got a to-do list that is just horrific. So if your task list is starting to paralyze you instead of keeping you motivated on track, this is a workshop that you're going to want to stick around for. So I would love to know, particularly. June Scott. Hello, June. I never say both your names. Hello, June Scott. Hello, my dearest June. You're live. I'm live. We know where we're going. Okay, excellent. So what I would love to know in the comments, my darlings, is a truthful sort of estimation about how many items are currently on your to-do list. Okay. And I'm going to be honest, I probably have hundreds on various lists. And that is why I have had to learn some techniques for taming that list and organizing it so it doesn't overwhelm me. So it's not a tidal wave. So some tweaks that I've done in the last year have helped me immensely. They're very simple. I'm going to teach them to you today. We're going to go through a couple of them, try them out, and yeah, I think it could make a really big difference for upping your efficiency. So we had Sue joining, sending sunshine from Chilliwack. Yay, that means it's a sunny day, Sue. Awesome. I've got a couple of my Egypt folks here, a couple of my sojourners from the Egypt trip here. That's awesome. I love my peeps from the Egypt. So if you are watching, you may find, I'm streamed both to Facebook and YouTube, as I usually do. And so if I'm responding to comments that you're not seeing, it probably means that they're on the other platforms. So if you're on the other platform, I want to hear from you there too. It all comes to me the same way. So yeah, how many on your to-do list? Let's be honest. June says many lists with at least 5 to 10 each. So then the question, June, is how many lists do you have floating around there? That's the true question right now. So folks, just to be able to get the Facebook algorithms working with us and to be able to beam out to all the people that could use this sense of community and some help, and please love, thumbs up this video, this live stream, or share it is even more powerful. If you share it right now on your wall, say I'm here, come join. Or if there's somebody that you think could really, resonate with what we're doing today, tag them in the comments, and they can either join us live or they can join us for the replay. So I'm here every Thursday. I am here to support you as you create positive change in your little corner of the world, whatever that, is, in whatever facet. My community are full of beautiful people who are trying to do important things, but we can't carry it all on our own, folks. Okay, we need support. We need tools to up our sense of personal empowerment, our sense of proficiency and effectiveness. So today, as I mentioned, I'm going to teach you some clever tricks for breaking through to-do list overwhelm. And to up your focus as well and your sense of accomplishment, which that sense of accomplishment is so important for you to be able to be a sustainable sort of loving, positive force in this world. Okay. It's no good if you just go hard for, a year, 3 months and you burn out. Okay. We need you for the long haul. So the things that I teach are to really create a change maker, an empowered change maker that has a lot of longevity and a lot of effectiveness. So if you're just joining, I am asking in the comments, honestly, how many items are on your current to-do list? Okay. Or do you have, like June, multiple to-do lists? And then let's add them up. Let's do a little estimate. Jenny said, very much needed. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Oh, Jenny, I love having you here. Thanks, darling. Beth, hi. Beth hasn't been able to make it for a while. So good to have you here live, honey. I know you've been watching the replays religiously, so that's amazing. All right. So in case you don't know who I am, I'm Kimberly Carroll, and I'm a coach for change makers. I help people who are trying to make a difference in the world to do some of that really important inner empowerment work. Also, to create high performance habits, which is kind of the piece that we're working on today, and strategies to really make you unstoppable. Okay, so one of those things that I want to mention, because it is important that I get this out to as many people as possible, but I have a little free course out right now called Power Tools for Changemakers. And it is designed, it's just a short course, it's 5 videos, about 10 to 15 minutes each. But they are really, key in helping these various parts that I just mentioned. So they help on the sort of the inner empowerment work. I just put the link in the comments. It really is designed to help with everything from tools to empower you and your good work in productivity, in bridge building, ways to fuel you even in tough times, ways to process those tough times so they don't take you down and make you, basically useless. There's all sorts of very practical, very actionable tools. And while you're doing the program, I give you an action step for each video, so that you're not just thinking about it, you're doing. Anybody who works with me knows I'm a woman of action. I like to take tangible action steps, and I like to give you tangible action steps. Has anybody here done the Power Tools for Changemakers yet? And if so, tell us what you thought of it. Or if you're doing it right now, how is it for you? Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that banner. I always have to remember, sometimes I keep those banners up and they're up the whole time. So give me a little tap if you see a banner up for too long. Before we launch into our topic today, which is taming your to-do list, I want to talk about a few things that have happened this week that I think it's important for change makers to know. So first of all, some good news. This week, the Supreme Court in the US ruled that landmark civil rights laws protecting gay, lesbian, and transgender people from discrimination in employment basically have been enacted. So it's just was a resounding victory for our LGBTQ community. And this is from a conservative court. So I'd say that's a pretty promising thing. So good news, but I'm going to have to bring you some bad news. Which affects the people that are in my province of Ontario quite a bit, and it affects, a special passion for me, which is animal rights, animal protection. So yesterday, the Ontario legislature voted to pass Bill 156. Now, Bill 156 is known as an ag-gag bill, where these bills started sort of circulating in the United States as a very sort of conservative movement to silence people that are trying to expose animal cruelty, animal suffering in the industrialized farming system. I never thought I'd see the day that this would happen in Canada, but it has started. Alberta, a few months ago, already put one into place, and Ontario, which I would like to think of my province as being pretty progressive, but seeing as how we have a conservative majority right now in Ontario, the bill passed. And so it really is designed to make it illegal for whistleblowers to expose cruelty in the agricultural industry. And it also is going to cause a lot of problems for wonderful groups like Animal Save, Pig Save, that bear witness outside of slaughterhouses. There's going to be, they're really trying to keep people even away from being able to document with cameras the suffering that's going on in transport trucks. So it's I've worked with many groups that have done a lot of undercover investigations. That's the only way, like Canadians and Americans have been able to see what's going on behind the closed doors of the factory farming system. And it has really woken people up to the immense suffering of farmed animals. So to be able to have that taken away, to have that not only the individual be punished severely financially, but the organizations that are involved will be also punished severely. But I have a little, I don't want it to be all dire. My group, Animal Justice, is, we are bound and determined. We already have a plan. We're, to be able to basically take this bill to court. We want to do everything in our power to fight this scary unconstitutional law in court. And so I just put up a little, if you're interested in helping along with that, I just wanted to give you an opportunity for a little donation action if this really upsets you. And I'm going to put it into the comments too. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to rock and roll. We're ready to take this to court. And try to get this struck down. All right, and one more piece before we go into our topic today. Some ways to support our Indigenous friends in Toronto this weekend. Tomorrow, there's going to be a big round dance honoring both Indigenous and Afro bodies, and that's between 5 and 6 at Nathan Phillips Square. I'm going to be there. I hope you'll come out and join us. And then also there is a Indigenous Rise Against Police Violence peaceful protest that's happening on City Hall on Sunday at 3 p.m. And it is an Indigenous Day on Sunday. So folks, 9 Indigenous folks people in Canada in the last 2 months have been killed at the hands of police. This is truly Canada's shame. So I feel like we need to show up to support in any way we can. We tried to be very active with Wet'suwet'en. Now, is another wonderful time to step up and to basically tell our Indigenous friends that they are not alone in this fight. Okay, this is the responsibility of all of us. Okay. Thank you so much, folks. And if you have anything that you want to share, any news, any stuff that you'd like us to check out, feel free to put it in the comments. We'd love to see it from any realm: environmental, social justice, poverty, animal stuff, anything. All right. This is our place where, as changemakers, we share any healing opportunities, any educational opportunities. This is a place to share. So back to our to-do list. If you are just joining us, we are talking about how to tame that to-do list today. So on a scale of 1 to 10, folks, how overwhelmed would you say you are by your list? Okay, I want you to put this in the comments. From 1 to 10. So 1 being, I'm groovy with my to-do list, and 10 being, I wake up screaming about my to-do list with sweat dripping down. 1 to 10, please, as I always like to say, this is a workshop, not a listen shop. So make sure that you participate. All right, so 1 to 10. I'm going to say that before I started doing these techniques, I was probably at a good 8, maybe 8.5 sometimes. And since I've put some of these techniques into place, I'm down to a 3, I'd say 3 or 4. Sometimes I'm pretty groovy with it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So Wendy, hi Wendy, you said 8. Oh yeah, sweetie, I know what you're talking about there. And the fact is that the to-do list is meant to be a productivity tool to keep us on track, okay? To free our mind, sort of to free our mind to be able to be creative. But for you overachievers, and me too, who measure your worth by how much you do, I'm looking at you. This list can become really unruly. It can become crushing, okay? And that overwhelm inevitably leads to procrastination and then downright paralysis. I don't know about you, how many people have had a to-do item on your list for years, for more than a year. Beth says 3 for now, but work starts next week. So yeah. So this is a perfect opportunity, Beth, to go into this sort of change in your work, being very much more deliberate. And June said, I'm in denial that the lists are growing. No longer. You have spoken it out loud, June. You can no longer be in denial. Okay. One other piece about when our to-do lists get too unruly is that they become almost an indictment, okay? They become almost evidence that you scour every day for how much you didn't get done. Okay. It reinforces that insidious energy draining feeling that you're not doing enough, which at its core is you are not enough. Okay. And that's something that so many of us struggle with. And that's work, that's inner work for another day. But this little piece will be one that not only will make us more efficient, more productive, but will also help ease that sense of always feeling like, oh my God, why can't I get it all done? Why am I never enough? Okay. So it's on two levels really important. Okay. So let me see here. Thank you very much for being honest about your to-do list, guys. I appreciate it. So we're gonna get quick and dirty today and get right into some techniques. The first technique I want to talk about is the daily top 3. If you have just a catch-all ongoing list, which I'll admit I do have, but I only have it as a sort of repository, okay? That if you just have a catch-all list and that's all you're doing, it's so depressing. It never gets done. Have you ever noticed you tick off one thing and you add 3 more? Like, it's like, oh my God, monster that keeps growing. And again, what that does, it focuses you constantly on what's undone. When we as change makers are trying to climb this mountain and all we're looking at is how much further it is and it keeps growing, and it, as opposed to looking back and just going, wow, I have come a long way. Or I don't need to climb the whole mountain today. I just need to take 3 steps. And 3 steps over a long period of time, I'm going to be at that top of the mountain. Okay, so the top 3, this is how it works. So basically, I form my top 3 from my top 3 to 5 every week. So let's start with that part. So I believe that it's just helps you to be so much more deliberate if at the beginning of the week, and you should have basically the same practice every week, whether you do it on Friday afternoon or Sunday evening or first thing on Monday morning or whatever works for you, whatever signals the beginning of your week, to basically be able to look at what your priorities are. And that does require having sort of bigger goals, month-long goals, year-long goals. But I think everybody's got a bit of a sense of that. But the more that you can formalize that, at the beginning of each year, I do my top goals for the year. I break that up into months, and then I'm able to do this weekly thing fairly easily. So you can do that anytime, but even if you're not there, just start with the week, okay? So when you do the weekly review, you're going to actually review the week that was, but let's just concentrate on what you're going to do for the week ahead. So you are going to kind of look at what is sort of moving forward, what is meaningful for you, and you are going to decide on 3 to 5 tasks that week that are specifically important. Okay, they're either urgent and they just need that sort of timely attention, or they represent something that is super meaningful for you but gets lost, sort of falls by the wayside a lot. And so setting those 3 to 5 things, and those 3 to 5 things can include personal things too. They don't have to just be professional, business, activism, whatever it is. They can include something that's personal. It's up to you if this list is going to be mixed, personal and professional, or whether it's going to be purely a professional list. A lot of personal things sneak onto my, I shouldn't say sneak on, end up on my list because they're just as important. So if you can do that at the beginning of the week, then you have an anchor for that week. And then what happens is each day you look at what those week, touch points are, and you decide in this day, what is going to move the needle forward the most. You don't need to do a bit of each. You could just tackle one on that particular day and then break it down into the top 3 tasks that are involved in that. Or you could do a little from each one. But the top 3 of your day, I know it's hard. It doesn't mean that's the only thing you're going to do, but you are going to know that at the end of the day, those 3 things were the deliberate things you decided, intended to do. And the wonderful thing about that is at the end of the day, when you've gotten those 3 things done, hopefully, even if you've just gotten 2 of them done, or even just one of them, you can say, okay, I got 33% done, or I got 100% done. When you're done those three, if you got more time, then you can work your way down that list a little bit more. But I want you to have a focus, okay? I want you to choose how you conduct your day according to what is actually meaningful when you are in a more expansive, clearer state than when you're in the middle of a day and you've been caught by anxiety and there's 100 things happening around you and there's tons of stimulus and you get scattered and you get taken down every rabbit hole. That is not proficient, okay? That is just not going to make you an effective, productive person. When you have these top three, you can use them, like you can hang on to them like a lifesaver. So when the day starts whirling around you, you can go back to that list and you can go, oh yeah, right. This, when I was in my right mind, when I was grounded, I decided this was what today was important, what was important for today. And you can just keep coming back to it. Okay. I know that sounds simple, but so many of us don't do it. Does that make sense? Does anybody do something like that already? I'm just reading. Wendy said, my to-do list is always ongoing. Yeah, absolutely. And it's okay to have an ongoing list, but we can't have that list of 100 things staring us in the face at the end of each day going, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I only got 10 of those done. You know, it sets us up for failure no matter what. Sue said, not feeling too groovy about my overwhelming to-do list. Yeah. Overwhelming is just code for you haven't broken it down enough. If something is overwhelming, you need to break it down into smaller pieces until you go, I can handle that piece. I can handle that piece. Okay. If you can't handle that piece, it means you haven't broken it down enough. Okay. So keep breaking it down until it's like, okay, no, I can handle this. And then the wonderful thing is you might be like, oh, but there's such little pieces. I'm not going to get anywhere. But the wonderful thing is, as soon as you start doing, as soon as you get out of paralysis and you start doing, that momentum picks up. And all of a sudden you have this energy and almost this confidence and this flow to keep going and keep building. Beth says, I do it Sunday night for the week, but it turns out to be way more than 3 to 5 things. Yeah. And that's my temptation too. But Beth, it really forces you when you keep it to 3 to 5 things for the week. It really forces you to get crystal clear on what is truly important. So when you're making that list, you're going, is this really important? No, somebody told me that I should care about this, but do I really this week? Is this where I want to put my focus? No, I'm going to stick with this. So it's a really, a lot of us get into this place where the projects that are meaningful for us, they slip away because of the busyness of life, all the little things. And then again, all the sort of scatteredness that happens in the middle of the day. It's hard not to get somewhat scattered. So this is your insurance to stay with what is meaningful to you. Okay, so the top 3 list, I hope I've explained that enough. But one thing I want to just suggest as a way to be accountable to that top 3 list and just find a little bit of reward from it is, how about this? At the end of your day, I want you to be able to go back to that list and I want you to assign a percentage to that. Okay. Because yeah, you're not going to get it done every day, but I think partial points are really important. Okay. It's not black and white. Sometimes, you get 60% of something done, or you just touch into it, but it's 10%. I want you to assign a little percentage. If you got it done, 100%, halfway done, 50%, just touched into it, 10%. It just allows you to go, okay, I didn't get it fully done, but I did something. Okay. I did move the needle on that. So, and I love doing that at the end of the week with my weekly 3 to 5. I love having the percentages, and not only does it feel rewarding, but it gives me good information. If I see that something is only getting 5% for 3 weeks in a row, I've got to go back to that item and I've got to go, what's happening here? Is this not important enough to me? Is there something I'm stuck around? Have I not, made the stakes high enough, or have I not broken it down enough? Okay. So so I love doing that sort of weekly review before I create the week ahead's top 3 to 5. So when we're talking about overwhelm, and that's what can really stop us solid on our to-do list, is that we get to a to-do and we can't get past it. Okay, it is just something that keeps evading us. when we can't do it to do, it means that we don't feel like we have the capacity to do it. We don't believe that it's possible for us. Okay, so we have to have some tools for that. One tool that I really like to put, really like to use um, around this is to remind myself that I can do hard things. Okay. When I get stuck around a task that feels really daunting, sometimes I make a list of the things that I have done that have been really hard. Maybe just the stuff I've done in the last month that's been really hard. Or maybe I have to go into with the big guns and go with things in my life that I never thought I'd be able to do, that seemed impossible. And now they're done, now, or I've accomplished them or I've mastered them. So that can be really helpful, to do a little list each time, or to have a list of the hard things that you've done. And they don't have to be big things. They can just be little things like I figured out that, that graphics program, or I figured out how to program my TV, or whatever it is. Or it can be big things like, I got my master's degree. I left a marriage that was that I never thought I'd have the courage to leave. So I know that it seems like, okay, do I have to bring that stuff in? But yes, sometimes there's a to-do on your list that feels like it is a monster that's chasing you. And you have to remind yourself how powerful you actually are. Now, I'm just going to, there's a question here and I just want to address it. So Beth said, do you put daily things in there such as exercise, cleaning, etc.? So no, Beth, I have that in my regular to-do list. So I would have it underneath the top three, unless you're like, this, I haven't done yoga for a week and I have to make sure it happens. This is really important to me. Then yeah, it's in the top three. But the things that are kind of habit for me, they don't usually need to be in the top three. I might need a little reminder of it, so it's below. But again, the top three is just your anchor, so that when you start, you can go back and go, right, what again? What was important to me? Okay, yeah, and yeah, so that's how your list gets so long. Jean said, can you give an example of how high level the 3 to 5 weekly to-dos are? Yeah, I can give you an example for sure. I'm going to share some of mine. Let me just bring them up. Okay, so my weekly this week, I'm doing a project called Animal Justice Academy, and so a piece of that this week I wanted to get done was getting the curriculum and presenters sketched out. I also, another item was to plan a video shoot for next week. I've just recently brought on a virtual assistant, so I was going to make a list. Another item was to make a list of duties for that VA. Some of the other things are, I had on my list a couple of weeks ago, yeah, just to do my newsletter that week. I had, to review a video that we were making for the Toronto Vegetarian Food Bank. One of my items was to complete an insurance claim form. So yeah, it can be high. It depends what you think you can get done. So it's really, what is, so you're going to look at what is important to you. You kind of want to at least have an item on that list that sort of furthers your bigger vision, but you also just want to get some shit done. Okay, so I hope that helps, June. I hope that gives you a little bit more of an idea. These are great questions, guys. Thank you. Okay, so back to when you hit a place in your to-do list where you feel overwhelmed. Here's a little exercise that I was so surprised how effective it is. And it is taking your top 3 for a dress rehearsal, or at least taking this one to do for a dress rehearsal. So you know how you hear about pro athletes, how they visualize their plays and their moves before a big event, big competition or a big game, and how much that helps them? Or think about how we don't do a wedding without a dress rehearsal, or we don't do a play without a dress rehearsal. A dress rehearsal is just helps to make the real thing go more smoothly. And it's been shown in multiple studies that this is an incredibly effective technique. So why not do it on your to-do. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, and I should have done this in the last section, but if you haven't already, I want you to decide on a top 3 for today. Okay. And again, for the daily, I would like you to start with just 3. If you have to go to 5 at the most, but I think just to practice in the beginning, a top 3 would be really good. So I know it's already, early afternoon and you may have already accomplished some things. Put that, if there was something big that you already accomplished that would have been your top 3, put that in. But I'd like for you right now to decide what your top 3 is for the rest of the day. Okay, I'm just going to give you a minute to write it down. And remember, the top 3 should be manageable. Okay, it shouldn't be an open-ended thing. It should be something that really has a beginning and an end. So again, with one of my goals being, to get the curriculum figured out for our academy, well, my thing for today will be just to brainstorm around guest speakers. Okay, so I'm going to do one thing around that, particularly today. I mean, a few other things that I'll get to if I can, but that's the main thing in my top 3 around that. Okay, so now looking at that top 3, I'd like for you to choose one that you feel is you're getting stuck around. Okay, already there's something in your stomach that's like, I don't know, I feel like I don't want to do that, or I don't know, like it's just like there's resistance. Okay, choose the one that you have the most resistance around, and I'm going to take you through just a very quick little process, and just to give you a template for this. So you got one? Okay, close your eyes. Let's take in a nice big deep breath. And now, you know what, let's do some shoulder rolls backwards. It's always really good to be in our bodies when we do this kind of work. So just rolling slow, big range of motion with those shoulders, really enjoying this, really rolling off all of the thinking right now and just being in the body, just feeling yourself rooted right here and now. Okay, really feel your feet grounded, feel the air around you. Good. And now I'd like for you to see and feel yourself going ahead with this task. Okay, you don't need to know all the details of how it's going to happen, but I want you to just see if you can go through it. Okay, I just want you to feel what it might be like to approach this. To open the book, or to put the running shoes on, or to ask for that talk, pick up that phone, and just see and feel yourself, powerful with momentum. You can do hard things. And just see if you could, notice any details of it. Just doing it, going through it, even if it's the most mundane thing, just see yourself doing it successfully. And just let's make this as real as possible. Where are you? What's going on around you? What's the temperature? How are you moving? What's the energy in your body? If that energy isn't feeling empowered, let's breathe in some big, beautiful, empowering breaths into that. You can do hard things. I know you. I know this about you. And I want you to see and feel, and you might not have all the details, but I want you to feel and see yourself completing this task, and how that looks and how that feels. Knowing that you honored this thing that was important to your day. I want you to see and feel that in your body, the expression on your face. Maybe you feel lighter. Maybe you just feel really proud of yourself. Maybe you feel free. Maybe you feel really in purpose. All right, let's take in a nice big cleansing breath. And letting go with an exhale. And if you want to shake anything out, you can shake it out. And coming back to eyes open. So you don't need to make this exercise as long as I just did. I just wanted to give you a feel for it. But really, at the beginning of your day, when you set those top 3, you could go through each one and spend like 15 seconds on each one to just like see yourself in it, just see yourself executing it, getting it done and how that feels. And then going on to the next one and then going on to the next one. Okay. It's just a nice little hack. And I'd like to know in the comments whether that one thing feels more doable right now. And if you want to share what that one thing is, let me know. I'd love to hear. So yeah, let me know whether just kind of taking it through a test drive helped you at all. Because what it does on a physiological level is it creates those neural pathways, okay? It changes the neural pathways. It starts to change them. Even if you're not doing it physically, mentally, it's so powerful, okay? And so when you go to do it, you're like, oh, I've already done this. Your brain, like, you've already done this, okay? So no sweat. We're going to be able to do it. Still might be sweat, but it's not going to be as hard as if you didn't do it, okay? Are you folks still with me? You still with me? Are you getting this? Is this helping? I love to hear how you're doing. Okay. And if there's more questions, please. I love questions. Okay. I'm going to share one more little piece. And again, this may feel small and it's not hard to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, but I now do let me try this again. I do a to-done list. Okay. So this is part of my weekly ritual. When I am reviewing the week that was and creating my new week, I actually, I do this every day. So I have a little sidebar with my to-dos and my top 3. I do a little X, or you can do a little tick. But I do a little X. And what I do is I move all of the X's from my to-do list to my to-done list. Okay, my done list, basically. And I know it sounds a little silly, but man, it makes me realize, honey, you did a good job today. Or maybe not so many, but that's okay. We'll let's look at what happened. We'll tighten it up tomorrow, or we won't bite off as much tomorrow, or whatever it is. And by the end of the week, I've got a huge done list. And what I do is I actually transfer that over. I have a main document of dones. So at the end of this year, I'm going to look back, or even monthly, you can look back and you can go, wow, okay. Because often it feels like we have done nothing, right? And I bet you if you actually kept track and you actually look back instead of just forward all the time, then you would be able to say, whoa, yeah, I've got some power going. I've got some momentum. And what that does psychologically is it really activates and energizes you for the task ahead. Again, just like I said, instead of always looking at that mountaintop that's so far away, looking back and going, whoa, I have come a long way. I can do that. I just did that. I can do that. So it's an amazing way to up your confidence, to give you more of a sense of acknowledgement, and to be able to, just say, I see you. I see what you're doing. I see how much you've already done. And that sense of satisfaction will really help fuel you. It builds courage and it builds confidence. And as change makers who are often up against some impossible tasks, some impossible missions, we need to have those moments of victory. Okay. We need to have those moments of saying, yeah, I have made a difference. And sometimes we're going to look at it and go, you know what? I can do more. But I never want that to be the thing that chases you always. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. that will never empower you. That's not going to inspire you to do more. It's going to inspire you. It's going to make you do less. It's going to deflate you. It's going to take all your energy away. It's going to take your light away. And the world needs your energy and your light right now. I'm just going to check comments and see where we're at here. Beth said reviewing a lot of coursework, and she could visualize herself chunking it down. Good, excellent. Yeah, chunking. I love that word. Chunking it down. So when you got the overwhelm is so happening around a task, you gotta break it down, or in other words, chunk it down. Okay. And Beth said that you love the two done list. It's very satisfying. Yeah, it is. And you'll be surprised. And like I said, I know it sounds a bit silly, but these 3 little pieces or 4 little pieces that I've shared with you have really changed the energy for me around my day. I always felt like I was being chased by not enough. And I've certainly had to work on that again on a deeper inner level, but on a daily level, I've been able to adjust that. So I feel like, wow, I am getting a lot more done. And in my days, it is a safeguard to keep me from going and scattering and freaking out and panicking and losing sort of the plot and grasping for whatever thing lands on my lap. That's what happens when you are not deliberate about your to-dos, about not having your top 3, is that every email that comes in, whoop, every text, whoop, every, post, whoop, and sorry, I'm doing a lot of sound effects today. I get very fired up about this. And yeah, so it safeguards against that. Now, I know that there's so many things that come in, but I'm like, nope, I already decided. I know in my grounded place where I was really clear-sighted that this was what's important. I can let these other things fall away for now. Okay, I can let them fall away for now. And you have to. There's millions of pieces of information, millions of things you could be doing every day. You have to decide what's important to you, and you have to find systems to honor that. Okay, any more questions before we leave this topic? Okay, I want to remind you that if you like this, talking about some productivity, I have many more productivity hacks in my Power Tools for Changemakers course. So it's free. Please, share it with anybody who you think might be able to benefit from it. Any healers, any mission-driven entrepreneurs, any activists, any educators, anybody who is trying to make the world a little bit of a better place. All right, and you can find it just going to my website, kimberlycarroll.com. All right. So next week, I'm going to have a guest on. Nandini Sen is a wonderful, colleague of mine from India. And some of you might have seen, I was on her show this past week. She's doing a show called Cope with Hope. And it's really getting, so Nandini is she was a famous model in India, and she has had just an incredible journey of becoming a change maker, becoming a healer and a change maker over the years. So I want to get her on and share her story, but I also want her to share some of the really inspiring stories she's picked up from change makers through her little series. I've listened to some of them, and it's been really inspiring to me. So yeah, she's going to be on. We'll be open for questions as well. If there's anything that anybody would like some help with, come and join and spread the word. Again, I just love being in community with you guys, and I'd love to bring as many of these precious people that are trying to make a difference in the world into our fold. So share far and wide. Here every Thursday, 1 p.m. And yeah, I think that's all. And I'm letting go a little bit earlier. Yay! Get on those top 3, folks. All right, I'm sending you so much love, and I would really love to know how these tools work for you. Maybe report back to me in the live stream next week. Okay, take care.